Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up? What's happening? Welcome back to Crypto Squid Games. Start the day off with a prayer. Saying, Lord, thank you for the day. Your love, blessings, mercy, and grace. And all you do for us. Continue to hold us, mold us, direct our path, and guide our steps. Protect us from all evil. And continue to create greatness in our lives. First, I like to say, amen, amen. First, I like to say, nothing I say is financial advice. You know, I don't condone none of the things that you see on this channel. And, I'm just really getting crunk up. So, I got another story for y'all in the world of Crypto Squid Games. This one here, it's an interesting one. But you know how it is in this world of Crypto Squid Games. This one here is about, well, let me just get into the article. They stole $250 million in crypto and got caught within a month. How luxury cars, $500,000, bar tabs, and mysterious kidnapping attempt help investigators unravel a heist of a lifetime. In the balmy late afternoon of August 25th, 2024, Sushil and Radhika Cheadle were house hunting in Danbury, Connecticut, in an upscale neighborhood of manicured yards and heated pools. Sushil, a vice president at Morgan Stanley in New York, was in the driver's seat of a new matte gray Lamborghini Urus, an SUV with a price tag starting around $250,000. As they turned the corner, the Lamborghini was suddenly rammed from behind by a white Honda Civic. At the same time, a white Ram ProMaster work van cut in front, trapping the Chatels. According to criminal complaint filed after the incident, a group of 6 men dressed in black and wearing masks emerged from their vehicles and forced the Chatels from the car, dragging them toward the van's open side door. Let me show the full article. When Sushil resisted, the assailants hit him with a baseball bat and threatened to kill him. The men bound the couple's arms and legs with duct tape. They forced Radhika to lie face down and told her not to look at them, even as she struggled to breathe, pleading that she had asthma. They wrapped Sushil's face with duct tape and hit him several more times with the bat as the van peeled off. Several witnesses saw the attack and called 911. Some of them, including an off-duty FBI agent who lived nearby, happened to be at the scene, trailed the van and the Honda, relaying the vehicle's license plate numbers. Danbury police officers soon located the van. A patrol vehicle activated its emergency lights and tried to make a stop, but the driver of the van accelerated, swerving recklessly through traffic. About a mile from where the chase began, the driver careered off the road and struck a curb. 4 suspects fled on foot. The police found one hiding under a bridge and apprehended him after a brief chase. Within a couple of hours, the other 3 were located hiding in a wood area nearby. The police, meanwhile, found the shaking Chatels bound in the back of the van. Detective Sergeant Steve Castrovinci of the Danbury Police Department had the day off when the shift commander called them at home about the incident. "We got a kidnapping, a legit kidnapping." He remembers the shift commander telling him. Castrovinci called a few of his detectives to get up to speed and then stop at the crime scene before driving to the station to speak to the suspects. Based on the information provided by one of the suspects in custody, two more assailants were found and arrested the following morning at an Airbnb rental in Roxbury, a 30-minute drive from Danbury, where the white Civic was also parked. It's wild out here with this crypto, man. People kidnapping people. People just trying to live. People trying to handle their business. Get away and out of harm's way. People making smart moves, wise investments. You got other people that's laying and lurking. The internet a dangerous thing. When the internet was created, I think they had the same conversation that they're having about crypto. How dangerous it could be, how harmful it could be. But all that was shrugged off because there's so many people made so much money. When money involved, people really don't care to that effect about how dangerous something could be. Most of the people just see the opportunities. So they try to look past, the bad that could come out of something. In most situations, it's always good and bad. So you can't really level that, with you can't really rival that with the possibilities and opportunities that it has brought to us, because now with AI and information being at your fingertips and in your hand and in your pockets with your phones and stuff, you can look up anything, anytime, anywhere. And that's kind of the danger that comes with a lot of this stuff, because there's so many people out here that put themselves out there in different ways and forms and fashions, to the point to whereas you never know who may be lurking around the next corner. Man, it's a wild story, man. These people, they're just looking for a home. They're looking for a nice house. They're trying to upgrade their lives. You're already riding a $250,000 car. I know to us, people on the bottom, that's a lot. But the people that's higher up, oh, that's regular. That's normal. To some, it may even be, man, that's a cheap car. Because there's people out here with money like that. Like, that's old. I probably had that, however many long years ago. Or I never would purchase that because it's not expensive enough. I don't know. But I know that there's people out here with that kind of money. I mean, we're not one of them because we're at the bottom. These are the type of things that's going on for us, the crypto squid games, because it's like I say, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse ultimately. These people, they're out here and they're laying, they're waiting, like a lion in the forest, in the jungle, or in the desert. They're laying, they're waiting on their gazelle, who's just moseying along, eating grass, without a care in the world, while a lion is laying in the bushes, or a tiger is laying in the bushes. And then they attack. That's what's going on. It's like the crypto squid games. It's like the squid games. Let me finish this story. Because for Castrovinci, it was a strange and dramatic case. Danbury is a well-off, quiet place, and while the police there did get the odd kidnapping case, they were almost always related to child custody. A violent midday abduction was unheard of. There was no apparent connection between the suspects and the Chatels, and the stranger still. Law enforcement discovered that the suspects, men between the ages of 18 and 26, had traveled to Connecticut all the way from Miami. They rented the van on the app Turo. This is a case you may only get one or two of these in a career, Castrovinci, who has been in law enforcement for 20 years, including 5 with the New York Police Department, told me. Not in this area. We don't deal with this stuff like this. And that's the thing. He's saying that they don't deal with stuff like this, often. This is very rare. But see, this is the case that I'm making, especially with my channel. This stuff is going to start happening more and more. More and more. More and more. Because at the end of the day, the more people that you have that put their lives out there, people get rich. People want to be able to flaunt their wealth, at least to a certain aspect. Some people want to flaunt it all the way outright, and just, show off and do things like that to that effect. It's very few gonna be humble enough, wise enough to be humble enough to just live moderately and do what they're supposed to do. Most people are gonna have extraordinary cars, extraordinary houses, homes, extraordinary jewelry, things of that nature. Most people are gonna put themselves in the spotlight because they've never been able to enjoy things like that in their lives, and they put it out there in the front of people who they don't know are hungry wolves that's just laying and waiting to see, oh, this is an opportunity. And not to condone any behavior with the criminals, but you have crafty criminals out here. You see the movies, it's people like Mission Impossible. People come through the roofs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's all kind of crazy stuff that people come up with in ways in order to help them attain your wealth. So I believe in the future it's gonna be more and more of this stuff going on all the time. This might be a one-off right now, but I really do believe in the future it's gonna happen. Start happening more often and more often. For weeks the police said very little. Castrovinci and his team worked to piece together a motive. It was hard to believe that the Chatels were targeted because of Sushil's senior position at an investment bank. As a vice president at Morgan Stanley, he would have had an invaluable salary, but nothing out of the ordinary for Danbury. And if money was the kidnapper's motive, it was bizarre that they left behind the Chatels' Lamborghini, which was found abandoned in the woods. None of it seemed quite right. A few days after the attempted kidnapping, though, Castrovinci says his team received a tip from the FBI that cast the case in a strange new light, a possible connection to an enormous cryptocurrency heist, one that happened just a week before the attack. A group of young men, some of whom connected on a Minecraft server, were suspected of taking $250 million from an unwitting victim, setting off an incredible chain of events that involved an online network of cyber criminals, some of them teenagers, a group of independent digital detectives who tracked their efforts in several law enforcement agencies. Now it seemed the whole thing had accumulated in the kidnapping of the Chatels, a real-world spillover from the brazen lawlessness of this expanding digital underworld and the culture that surrounds it. See, it's starting. It's starting now. It's almost like the Hunger Games when they was going back to the fortress to overthrow the rulers and the rich folks. It's starting right now. The chain of events began a couple of weeks earlier when a resident of Washington, D.C. began receiving suspicious sign-in notifications on his Google account. The logins appeared as though they were coming from overseas. Then on August 18th, he received a phone call from someone claiming to be Google's security team. The caller said the user's email account had been compromised. The call appeared to be legitimate. The caller knew the DC resident's personal information. The account holder, the caller said, would need to shut down his account unless he could verify certain personal information over the phone, which he did. And that's another thing. Never tell these people stuff about your personal life over the phone. You don't give personal information over the phone. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Do not give your personal information over these telephones. Do not do it. It's bad enough you have to enter your personal information on the phone anyway. It's so many data breaches and things of that nature with people stealing people's personal information. It's ridiculous these days. And it's only going to get worse with these quantum computers that they're creating and AI, artificial intelligence, and all this stuff. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Shortly after the call with the supposed Google agent, the same DC resident whose identity remains concealed in federal court documents received a second call from someone who said they were a security team representative from Gemini, a prominent cryptocurrency exchange. Like the supposed Google employee, he had the man's personal information. He explained that his Gemini account, which held about 4.5 million worth of coins, had been hacked, and that the man needed to reset his two-factor authentication and transfer the Bitcoin in his account to another wallet to keep it safe. The person on the phone then suggested that the account holder download a program that will provide additional security. The man agreed, not knowing that he was downloading a remote desktop app which would give the caller access to his computer. And see, that's another thing. Technology is so advanced, you could give people access to your phones, to your computers, and not even know it. I know a lot of people whose phones got hacked just from connecting to certain Wi-Fi's in public areas. It's dangerous out here. You have to be very, very cautious and very, very careful. I ain't saying be scary or be scared. All I'm saying is you have to be cautious. You have to be mindful, thoughtful, and be careful about, where you connect your phone to. Who do you talk on the phone to? Verify these people. If you can't verify them, still don't give your personal information over the phone. Try to see if it's another alternative route. And if people got your information like that, then you need to go to the police. You need to go somewhere, file a report, have them trace the number. One thing that I always do is I always get number identifiers, or I always reverse phone lookup, or I always do an email reverse phone lookup, even when it comes to emails, because I understand the power of this technology. I'm going to look up that email. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to put it in every social media. I'm going to try to find it. And that's something that I just do because I'm very meticulous about the way that I handle, mine. But man, y'all be safe out there. The person on the phone suggested an account ordered on the program security. The man agreed, not knowing he was downloading a rogue desktop app, which would get a caller access to the computer and access to a second crypto account, exposing them to even more staggering theft. It turned out the DC resident and an early investor in cryptocurrency had more than 4,100 Bitcoin in total. 10 years ago, that Bitcoin was worth $1 million. That day, it was worth $243 million. Within minutes, it was all gone. A central paradox of crypto, that is, although coin owners are generally not identifiable, transactions are recorded on a public ledger known as a blockchain. This means that when the cryptocurrency moves, anyone can see it. This paradox was enabled a new class of sleuths who can identify suspicious transactions on the blockchain. One of the best of these digital detectives goes by the handle ZachXBT, an independent investigator of crypto-related crimes. Zach is well known and elusive figure in the crypto world. He regularly posts threads detailing his investigations on X, where he has about 100 followers, exposing supposed wrongdoers, sometimes by name. Often he shares his findings with law enforcement. Wired described him as the most prolific independent crypto-focused detective in the world. He doesn't share his real identity online. Minutes after the DC resident funds were liquidated, XBT was walking through an airport on his way to catch a flight when he received an alert on his phone about an unusual transaction. Crypto investigators use tools to monitor the global flows of various coins and set alerts for, say, any transaction over 100,000 that goes through certain exchanges that charge a premium for having a few security safeguards. The initial, and that's another thing, see, if people don't know that these people got alerts on the stuff. Everything you do is on. It's not like cash. They see everything. They can trace and track everything. You know, when it comes to cryptocurrency, they can see it. But thieves don't care. Their mind is just on getting rich. They just want the money, you know. What was that? The initial alert that day was for a mid six-figure transaction followed by higher amounts, all the way up to $2 million. After he cleared up Social Security, XBT sat down, opened his laptop, and began tracing transactions back to a Bitcoin wallet with roughly 240 million in crypto. Some of the Bitcoin in the wallet dated back to 2012. At that point, it didn't make sense. He told me, why is a person who held a Bitcoin for this long using a sketchy service that typically sees a lot of illicit funds flow through it? He added wallets associated with the transaction. He said wallets associated with the transactions there's tracking and board the plane. Once he connected to a flight, the internet, more alerts arrived. Throughout the day, Bitcoin traced to the wallet was being liquidated through more than 15 different high-fee cryptocurrency services. So they were trying to move that stuff out of there fast. They was trying to get it and get it gone. After he landed, he messaged a few other investigators who specialized in cryptocurrency theft. Among them was Charles Cooper Duckett, Director of Investigations for Crypto Forensics Investigators, one of a growing number of independent firms that track crypto theft and fraud that help law enforcement recover cryptocurrency for the victims. I wish I knew about them a few years ago before I destroyed my Ledger wallet. Jesus Christ. Because I know I got about 3-4 years ago for about $400. Jesus Christ. And that was all I had. They took it. Yep. I don't know. I online trimming around and Jesus Christ. They got me, man. They got me, y'all. So I've been a victim of this too. The crypto squid games. That's all I had, and they got it. Yep. And I don't know what to do. Well, I'm gonna go to the police because it all happened online. You know. But you have to be careful out there. I'm gonna go ahead and end this one here today like that. You know, y'all could continue through the story and, you know, learn more. But it's getting crazy out there, y'all. In this wild world of the crypto squid game. Y'all be blessed. Stay safe. Peace.